The Vic Juba Community Theatre and the City of Lloydminster have entered a new 3-year funding agreement. The city is set to pay the Vic Juba roughly $250,000 in 2024 and a 5% increase annually until the agreement ends December 31st, 2026.
Culture. And that facility is a mainstay. It was built with the support of the city, and we're going to continue to make improvements from that perspective. There was money set aside to cover up any operational challenges that's in the budget, and it's about 30% of their revenue comes from the city in this form of a grant.
Some of the changes coming to the Vic Juba include a dedicated project coordinator role, as well as general building maintenance.
It serves the community and the greater community. Again, that was discussed. We have people traveling from Edmonton, Saskatoon, Meadow Lake, Cold Lake to attend performances and events at the Vic Juba, which is terrific. But at the same token, to be truly break even, costs would be significantly higher.
Both the city and the Vic Juba, barring any drastic changes, will sign another 3-year agreement in December 2026. It's time now for the Entertainment Corner. Here is Ty Roswell.
I'm Ty Roswell, and I'm here once again at May Cinema 6 to give you the scoop on what's going on in the movie world this weekend. If you're a fan of holiday movies, May Cinema 6 is going to have you covered for the next couple weeks, starting with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Rated PG, Clark Griswold has a goal, the best Christmas ever for his family. He's planning a pool for the family as soon as his boss comes through with his bonus, and he's going to have the best light display in the neighborhood. Unfortunately, his whole family is coming for Christmas, and when his wife's brother Randy shows up with his family, Christmas is going to get a whole lot more crowded at the Griswold house.
So if you're looking to spend your holidays with the Griswolds once again, then May Cinema 6 is going to have you covered. Continuing on with our holiday movies, there are plenty of classics to choose from here. But if you're looking for something a little bit new, May Cinema 6 has you covered with Christmas with the Chosen.
Directed by Dallas Jenkins and rated G. A young mother labeled impure, a shepherd boy considered unclean. Experience Jesus' birth through their eyes as Christmas with the Chosen, Holy Night blends the messengers and the shepherd into one special remastered.
So if you're looking for a new holiday movie this season, May Cinema 6 will have you covered. So our big premiere this week is Wonka, and this is a prequel to the classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Directed by Paul King and rated PG. A fresh-faced Willy Wonka has a hat full of dreams and a head filled with ideas to change the chocolate game and the world forever. Wonka sails into a city with his eyes set on Gallery Gourmet, the place known for its delectable, irresistible chocolate shops.
So if you're looking to discover the origins of the famous chocolate maker, make sure you get down here to May Cinema 6. So that's all the time we have this week on the Entertainment Corner, but remember, if not everything we talked about is up to your speed, there's plenty of others to choose from here at May Cinema 6.
Abby St. John joins us now for a look at the weather. And Abby, what can we expect for the weekend?
Well, we should be seeing a little bit of sun at least. The last few days, it's been showing that over the weekend we'll see a mix of sun and cloud. It will be breezy as we go into the weekend, but that's something that we're used to, of course, here. Especially today, we had, not too bad of a day. We had some sun out, which was nice. I got a little blinded by the sun a little earlier, so it's always nice to see some sun, especially on a Friday, right into the weekend. But there were some cloud coverage, and the cloud coverage will start to roll in. It is 2 degrees here, feels closer to -3 with that wind chill. The winds are coming in at 22 kilometers per hour. And then current temperatures across the region, 0 out in Marwayne, St. Paul, Bonnyville, Edmonton, and down in Provost. -1 in Wainwright and Lac La Biche, +1 in Cold Lake, and -3 out in Vegreville, +2 in Vermilion. And then on the Saskatchewan side, 2 degrees in Isle Cross and North Battleford, 1 in Pierceland and St. Walburg, Maidstone, and in Macklin, 3 degrees in Meadow Lake and in Green Lake. And then overnight tonight in North Battleford will drop down to -2, partially cloudy skies, but that wind speed will be at 24 kilometers per hour. And then tomorrow, expect intervals of clouds and sunshine, so it's going to be a little mix of both, hopefully more sunny than cloudy. A high of +3, winds at 17 kilometers per hour, so that could affect how cool it feels outside. Overnight tonight in Cold Lake will be considerably cloudy with a bit of sleet and freezing rain, about a 60% chance of some sleet and freezing rain later on in the evening. It'll drop down to -4 with 15 kilometer per hour winds. And then tomorrow will be a daytime high of 1 degrees, mainly cloudy skies with winds at 15 kilometers per hour. And if that sleet and freezing rain does hit, definitely take caution if you are traveling during the day tomorrow. Overnight tonight here in Lloydminster will drop down to -3, winds at 24 kilometers per hour. So it's going to be quite breezy this evening, and it will be coming partially cloudy as the evening rolls on. And then just to break down the day for tomorrow, it will be partially cloudy skies at 6 a.m., -1, 20 kilometer per hour winds. And then as soon as we get into noon, it'll be around 2 degrees, 22 kilometer per hour winds. So it may feel a little bit cooler, around maybe -1, -2. And then at 6 p.m., it will be partially cloudy. We will experience a lot of sun tomorrow. 13 kilometer per hour wind, so that will slow things down, and it will remain -3 until around midnight, where it will be mostly clear, and that wind will pick back up just a little bit to 17 kilometers per hour. Over the next 3 days here in the border city, a high of 2 and a low of -7 for tomorrow. And then on Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud with some wind in the morning, with a high of -3 and a low of -6. And then on Monday, to start your week off, times of cloud throughout the day with a high of +2 and a low of -8. That is a first look at your evening weather forecast. I'll have your overnight temperatures later on in the show.
The Lloydminster Steelers have been an elite AAA female hockey team in the border city for just under 20 years, and every year they have had the same naming sponsor. Paul Clausen and PWM Steel Services stepped up back in the early 2000s to be the major sponsor for the Elite Girls program.
It's Minor Mites, and then they also sponsor the girls midget team. I figure if the girls ever decided to go bigger or get to an elite league, well, I'd be there as a sponsor. So.
The PWM Steelers have had plenty of success in their almost 2 decades of operation, whether it's as a team or in helping girls pursue post-secondary hockey careers.
There for coaching him, and then he has did a real good job there. Like Reagan Fisher, the year we won the championship, she was the #1 scorer during the league and in the playoffs, and Chapman was also the #1 goalie that year in the league and in the championship, and a lot of girls have gone on to full scholarships in the States and here in Western Canada.
The Steelers have one final game for 2020-23. They'll be on the road to take on the Calgary Fire on Saturday. And Abby St. John is back in to give us another look at the weather.
Thanks so much, Leanne. We're currently sitting at +2, feels closer to -3 with that wind chill. We saw some very nice sunshine out today. Winds are at 22 kilometers per hour, so it's a typical windy day that we've been seeing over the course of the last couple of months. And then current temperatures across the region: 0 out in Athabasca, Edmonton, and out in Jasper, -1 in Whitecourt, -3 in Red Deer, -2 in Rocky Mountain House, -4 in Edson, and Cold Lake is sitting at +1. On the Saskatchewan side, 2 out in Meadow Lake, North Battleford, and Saskatoon, and 0 out in Prince Albert and in Melfort. And if we head up north in Saskatchewan, -11 in Uranium City, -15 in Stony Rapids, 0 in Wollaston Lake, La Loche, and Buffalo Narrows, -1 in South End, and -4 out in Flin Flon. And then taking a look on the Alberta side, 3 degrees out in Fort Mac, 2 in Fort Chipewyan, -5 in Peace River and High Level, -8 in Grand Prairie, and 0 out in Slave Lake. Down south in Alberta, +4 out in Medicine Hat, +3 in Lethbridge, -3 in Coronation and Banff, and -2 out in Calgary. And on the Saskatchewan side, 0 out in Kindersley and in Moose Jaw, -3 in Estevan, -1 in Yorkton, -2 in Regina, and +2 in Swift Current. Overnight tonight in North Battleford will drop down to -2, partially cloudy and windy skies. 24 kilometer per hour winds overnight tonight. In Cold Lake, 15 kilometer per hour winds with a low of -4, and there's about a 60% chance that you could see some sleet and or freezing rain later on this evening, so definitely proceed with caution if you're going out tonight or heading out somewhere tomorrow. And then more overnight temperatures across the region: -1 in Meadow Lake and Isla Cross, -3 in Bonnyville and Paradise Hill, and -4 out in Provost. And just like Cold Lake, Bonnyville also has a 60% chance of some sleet or freezing rain later on this evening. And then Isla Cross, there's a 71% chance of a little bit of late night snow, so definitely proceed with caution. And then more overnight temperatures across the region: -4 in Murnum, Pierceland, Unity, and Wainwright, and -2 out in Calgary and Pierceland as well. 60% chance of that sleet / freezing rain / ice later on this evening. Overnight tonight here in Lloydminster will drop down to -3. Windy this evening, and it will the clouds will start to roll in. It will be partially cloudy skies, and that wind will be at 24 kilometers per hour. So it's going to be quite a windy night out tonight. There's about a 25% chance that we could see some precipitation, but it's not something to be cause for concern. And then over the next 7 days here in Lloydminster, high of +2 and a low of -7 for tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud. And then on Sunday, a little bit more cloud coverage, but a high of -3 and a low of -6. On Monday, to start your week off again, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of +2 and a low of -8. -8 is the low on Tuesday with a high of -4, and it will be quite cloudy and cooler. On Wednesday, a mix of sun and cloud as well, with a high of -2 and a low of -6. On Thursday, it'll be mostly cloudy with a high of +1 and a low of -2. And then a week from today on Friday, it will be cloudy and sunny, similar to what we saw today, with a high of +3 and a low of -6. That is a look at the next 7 days here in Lloydminster. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
It's an exciting day here at Primetime Local News. I'm speaking with Canadian astronaut Josh Kutrick. Josh, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I want to chat about what you are going to be doing likely in 2025. This is just super exciting. You've been selected to go to the International Space Station for about a 6-month mission. Tell me all about that process and how that worked to get you to be selected for this.
Yeah, so this will be Canada's fourth long duration exploration mission, as we call it, whereby we're sending a Canadian Space Agency astronaut to this marvelous place, the International Space Station in low Earth orbit. And the idea will be to go there and do science exploration, run the station, fix it, maintain it for a pretty long time, 6 or 7 months. We'll be launching on the Starliner vehicle. That's a new vehicle being developed down here in the United States. It hasn't flown yet. It'll be the first operational flight for that vehicle. And so, all in round, I would say it's something that I'm very excited about. The Canadian Space Agency is excited about it. And then you asked a little bit about the preparation. I mean, for me, we've been preparing for this for a long, long time. I was hired in 2017, and I've been training basically ever since then. So it's a long road, but it is really nice to be here now and to have this opportunity ahead of us.
So, how do you go through simulations of the space station, and what does it seem like to you? Is it seem a little surreal at this point still, or have you just been laser focused from the beginning?
I've been pretty focused, and you have to be. The space station is immensely complex. It's complicated. It's probably one of the most complex pieces of technology we've ever built, and I mean the big we, humanity. So it takes a real long time to learn it. You know, if you're part of the crew that's living there, you have to understand it fully, all the way down into the depths of its power systems and life support systems, the water systems, all of it. You have to be prepared to deal with all sorts of contingencies. And so, if you take the total amount of training that someone might do before a long duration mission, and you were to add it all up, put it back to back, we don't typically do it back to back, but if you did, it would come out to probably be 5 or 6 years. So there's a lot to learn. I live most of the time down here where I am today, Johnson Space Center in Houston, and to your question, this is where we have all of the training teams, thousands of people, systems, simulators, hundreds of simulators here that are designed to simulate different parts of space operations. We have simulators for the vehicles, we have simulators for microgravity, we have the neutral buoyancy facility, we have airplanes, we have entire space station simulators that are real size and very high fidelity. So there's a lot of training takes place over years and years. It's very technical in nature, but it's something we're very passionate about, of course.
Well, in 6 months or 7 months, however long it ends up being, that's a long time to be up there. How do you prepare yourself mentally for, leaving family and friends behind and knowing that you're literally not going to be on the planet for that amount of time?
That's a good question to ask, and I would say that that's an important part of the training. We spend a lot of time talking about the technical training, mission rehearsals, simulations, physical training, but there is an aspect here at NASA with its partners like the Canadian Space Agency that is directly focused on that, and that is trying to assemble teams, crews that can go into space for long periods of time and function in that environment. It's a high risk, high consequence environment where you're with small teams in an environment where you can't leave, of course, and it's very dangerous. The consequence of error is very high. You're completely dependent on each other. And as you mentioned, to add to all of that stress of the environment, yes, you're leaving not only your friends and family behind, but you're leaving the entire planet behind. And that takes a certain amount of preparation. I haven't flown in space yet. I, of course, have many friends and colleagues who have, and they will all tell you that that's one of the more difficult parts in terms of both mission preparation training, but also mission execution. And so we put a lot of focus on it. We have lots of people here designing programs to help us train for that. It's a very deliberate effort. Yeah.
Josh, you spent several years at Four Wing Cold Lake as a fighter pilot. Can you tell me about how that kind of helped prepare you for your time? And I know we have a lot of people from the area that recognize you and know you. So, living in small communities like that and doing the fighter pilot training, how does that get you to where you are today?
Yeah, I did spend a lot of time in Cold Lake. I've been very passionate about aviation, all of it, since I was a child, and so I feel very grateful for the chance to have lived in Cold Lake. And to have flown the CF-18. I flew it as a fighter pilot all around the world, many years in Cold Lake. I taught on it, and I was a test pilot on it. The F-18 to me is kind of like my second home still when I think about that cockpit. I think if you look at those jobs, the jobs of being a fighter pilot, an operational pilot, deploying to conflicts around the world, for sure the job of being a test pilot, there are parallels, specifically and generally, to what we do here in human spaceflight. In the most general terms, it's all about operating, having to excel in, like I said, environments that are risky. I call them high risk, high consequence. They're environments where you can't make a mistake, where you have to be laser focused. But then to go into it a little bit more than that, I mean, both jobs, being a test pilot in Cold Lake, as an example, or being an astronaut down here with NASA, both jobs involve doing something really challenging. They involve pushing the borders back on technology, expanding the envelope, as we would say in fighter flying. And they involve working with a large team. I mean, as a test pilot or as an astronaut, I'm a very visible representative of that team. I'm the one who gets in the airplane at the end of the day, or the spaceship with this example. But in both cases, we're completely reliant on thousands of people, really, in Four Wing Cold Lake or here at Johnson Space Center, who have been working for years and decades to design this technology, test it, get it to a point where it's ready for us to use. And so it's kind of, that's one of the parallels that strikes me, the environment, but also this big team effort to go out and do something very difficult, very challenging. Both jobs, fighter flying, test flying, flying spacecraft, are similar in those respects.
Josh, what do you say to the kids who are watching this interview and think, their main thought is, oh, it's so cool to be an astronaut, but obviously there's a lot of hard work to get there. So if they want to be sitting in that chair that you're sitting in right now, Josh, what do you tell them? Where do they start on their journey to become an astronaut?
I think I tell them two things. Young Canadians, young Albertans, I'd say the first thing is get excited about this, and your future is very bright. It's going to be brighter than mine was. I mean, just right now, 2023, we're talking about my mission, a mission to the International Space Station. We're also talking about Canadian missions to the moon around the same time period, Artemis 2. There's a lot happening. Human spaceflight is growing exponentially right now, and the future is very bright there. It's specifically very bright for Canada, which is something that I'm proud of. I'm proud of our legacy there, and I just can't wait to see what we do with all this as a country in the future. So get excited, but probably more specifically, I'd say, you have to go out and find something, a passion, something that excites you like nothing else, gets you out of bed at 5 a.m, something that you can sort of follow through your whole life and help you to make decisions in terms of what you want to do, what you want to study. My passion was flying, exploring, but everybody down here who I work with has one of those. They have this thing that's guided them their whole life. They've gone out with it and gotten really, really good at it. They've studied it all over the world. They've become one of the best in the world at their thing. And they had fun doing it because it was a passion. And that's kind of, I think, in general, what we all have in common. So try to find that thing and then go out and get as smart at it as you can and as much experience at it as you can. And the rest will fall into place.
All right, Josh, well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much, and good luck with the ongoing training. And hopefully we can chat again with you sometime soon.
Would love to do so. Thanks for your interest.
As we get closer and closer to Christmas, Santa Claus, he still has a few appearances he's going to make in our area before the big day. You've got a chance to see Santa Claus tomorrow in Lashburn as they host a Santa Claus Day. And there's so many different activities to take in the afternoon, including cookie decorating. There's going to be public skating at the CN Sportsplex. Sleigh rides. There's an opportunity to stop by the hot dog roast and have some hot chocolate as well. There's going to be a book sale. There's going to be a huge fireworks show and a chance for you to visit with Santa Claus. It's going to be a very busy day coming up tomorrow in Lashburn. Coming up tomorrow afternoon at the Vic Juba Community Theatre, you have a chance to see The Nutcracker. This performance is by the United Youth Ballet Company, and this Christmas ballet, it follows the story of Clara and a magical Christmas party that she goes to. But then things take a bit of a turn, and the Nutcracker has to come along and save the day. This show, it's great for the entire family, and tickets are still available. You can go online, vicjubatheatre.ca, for all the details and to get your tickets. And the 9th Annual Parade of Lights is coming up on Thursday evening. It's going to start from right here at the Lloyd X and make its way through the streets of downtown Lloydminster. It's going to support the Lloydminster Rescue Squad, the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation, as well as the Lloyd X this year. And there's still time for you to enter a float. For all the details and to get registered, you can go online right now, lloydex.com. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm very happy to be joined here today by Constable Kelsey Davidge with the Lloyd RCMP. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So the holiday season, of course, is approaching. Everybody's been saying that for the last couple of weeks. And with that, a lot of people are turning to online shopping to get their gifts. It's super easy to do it that way, and you don't have to worry about stores and lines. However, with that comes packages being delivered to your doorstep. And that is kind of like a gateway for potential theft. So today we're going to be talking about how people can prevent that, or, make it so that it's, you're there to receive the package on time. So can we go through how people can prevent packages and as a RCMP perspective?
For sure. Again, with those online shopping increases, we do see a number of parcels or packages being left unattended outside of residences. This does create an easy opportunity for thieves to take those, right? Couple things we urge you to keep in mind is trying to schedule those deliveries during a time frame that you know you'll be home. Therefore, when you have that knock on the door, you're able to take that package right from that delivery service. Consider having your packages delivered to a workplace or a relative's home, or maybe someone who's retired or a trusted neighbor where you know they'll be home during that day, so they're able to pick up that package right away. Another thing we suggest is redirecting your package to a nearby pickup location or using a PO box. Another one would be request to have a signature for delivery. So that parcel isn't left outside. You would have to maybe go pick up at a post office or an additional place, but you are guaranteed the security of that package. We also recommend consider installing exterior security cameras so you know when that package is dropped off. And if you aren't home at that time, you're able to see if someone's on your property or if someone took that package. And the last one I'll suggest is instead of sending physical money or currency or a physical gift card in an envelope, we recommend sending either an e-transfer or an electronic gift card. This then guarantees that person's receiving it and that mail is not being taken away and looked for to pick up those things like currency.
Now, this time of year, obviously, there's a lot more packages to be able to be stolen. Have you seen an increase in this city this year, or do you have any kind of numbers for the border city for people? Is there an increase this year?
I'd have to look those numbers up from last year, but again, with even just online shopping has increased over time, and we are seeing less people physically going into the stores and with the convenience of having it sent directly to your house. So don't let that convenience make it an opportunity for a thief, right? So that's kind of what we're talking about today. But no, I don't have exact numbers for that. I could get that for you later, maybe.
Now, with if the event does occur where someone's package gets stolen, what do they do moving forward? What do they do after the fact if they do end up getting their package stolen?
Yeah, we always want you to report suspicious persons or activity to your local police station or area of jurisdiction. With that, we can get stats like this, knowing what kind of crimes are popular in that area or getting a clearer picture of what types and numbers of crimes are occurring within that area. This information helps police launch future projects, initiatives, or educational campaigns within the area or that division. And also, if you want to replace that package, a lot of services will have you report it to police, so you're able to get an occurrence number, which then therefore you can replace that package, like showing that you actually reported it and actually lost that package, if that makes sense.
Yes, for sure. And I didn't even know that you could do that. So I think that's a fantastic thing for people to be aware of if they do, in the event that they do get their package stolen. That's fantastic, and definitely something I'll keep in mind if that ever ever happens to me. Now, is there anything else that you would like to add in regards to prevention?
Again, use those safety tips that we recommended and make sure they're used, and ensure that your property and your residence is safe during the holiday season. Another reminder that we'd like to give is our CMP through online crime reporting. So you can always report online at http://report.rcmp.ca. Types of things you can use for this option are if there's no witnesses or suspects to an occurrence, if a lost or stolen item is worth less than $5,000, or if there is no items involving personal identity, firearms, license plates, or decals. You can always use that new online reporting tool for convenience, really. Instead of physically coming into the detachment, you can do that all online.
That sounds perfect, and definitely will make things easier, especially when they don't have to drive all the way down to the detachment and they can quickly just fill it out. So thank you so much for joining me. These are some great tips for people and some things that I learned as well. So thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully the numbers aren't too high this year for theft in the city. So thank you.
No problem. Have a great day.
It's an annual Christmas Eve tradition, and NORAD is once again getting ready to keep an eye on Santa as he makes his rounds.
We use ground radars, radios, we have satellites, we use our intelligence as well, so anything that we have available to us to provide us a picture in the Canadian airspace we're going to use.
Personnel serving at 22 Wing Canadian Forces Base North Bay are making their final preparations for the annual flyover. Tracking and sharing images of Santa's journey has been part of the team's duties for 40 years.
I love this. I actually used to be one of those kids who tracked Santa every single year. I could never sleep. I was never able to sleep on Christmas Eve, so I would track Santa on my computer all night long, make sure, oh, he's here, he's getting closer. So I love that they do this, and it keeps the magic alive for kids, which is
sure does,
most important part.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight. Thanks very much for joining us.